You too. Welcome back to episode 6 of Let It Flow, Let It Go podcast with your host, Kate the Great. Today, y'all, is just me. My girl been working and she been tired, but she gonna be back for episode 7. But let's get into today's video. For November is National Diabetes Month. I think it's Awareness Month, but National Diabetes Month. So today's episode is about type 1 diabetes. And yeah, so I always start y'all with a mental health check. And lately, I think all the time I start these, life be kicking my ass, right? We need to flip that over. We need to flip that right on over. But I've been feeling actually real great. I actually just got out the hospital Monday, and we're gonna talk about that today while I was in the hospital. But other than that, I've been in good spirit. Every time the holidays is around, I'm always like extra happy for no reason. But yeah, so today let's talk about. I know there's two types of diabetes, but I am going to talk about one because some of you may or may not know, but I am type 1 diabetic. So I had diabetes now for 17 years. I sound old, right? That's somebody's age. I had it for 17 years. Yeah, 17 years because I got it when I was 10. I'm gonna tell you a little about. Don't play with the flashcards. Type 1 diabetes. So yeah, so it's basically an autoimmune condition that attacks your organ cells. So again, when your pancreas stops working by itself, now you need to take insulin to produce it because you can't produce it no more. I don't know if people got different symptoms when they were diagnosed, but I'll start with all the symptoms and tell y'all my experience and my story. So a lot of the symptoms are like extreme thirst, always having to use the bathroom, always hungry, losing weight, tired and weak, or blurry vision. So if you're children, I'm gonna say children because as an adult, you don't really get diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. But if your children ever experience something like this, get them checked. And I know they start checking children for type 1 diabetes as early as 4 years of age. But I feel like it should be sooner. Like I always, every time my son has an appointment, I ask him because they say that it's a hereditary thing, but really is really not. Like I feel like because for they say it's hereditary, but for me, like I always just be like, oh yeah, I got it because my great grandmother has it, but my great grandmother has type 2. Nobody in my family had type 1. I was the first one in my family to have type 1 diabetes, and then now two of my younger cousins, they also have type 1. So it's like, but it's like it's from different sides of the family, so it's not even the same family. You get what I'm saying? So I don't think it's a hereditary thing. When did I get type 1 diabetes? So again, I was diagnosed in 2008. I'm lying. I was born 97. So 27, 2007, I was 10. Yes, I was diagnosed in July, I think June 10th, 2008, I was diagnosed. And I remember, if I don't add a clip here, y'all just picture. But growing up, I was always just super small and skinny. And then my mom was like noticing, like, my head looks like very swelled up and my body was just like a stick figure. So she was seeing that, but I remember she was telling me she went to work one time and it was a little poster of like the symptoms of diabetes, and she was like, I gotta get my daughter checked because I was always thirsty and I always had to use the bathroom. Like it would be like 1 in the morning, 3 in the morning. I always woke up like every hour to use the bathroom. And as I'm using the bathroom, I would put my head under the faucet and drink the water. And my mom used to always be like, I used to get in trouble and yelled at because she would be like, you keep having to pee in the middle of the night because you keep drinking water. But it's like the whole time, no, that wasn't it. So those were my symptoms. It was just like looking super skinny, always thirsty, always having to urinate. So I remember it was like she got a phone call. It probably was like 3 a.m. from the hospital, and they was just like, "Bring her in now," like because I guess my test results came back. They was like, "Bring her in now." Like her sugar is like 500. Yeah, they was like her sugar is like 500. So bring her in and everything. And I remember she brought me in that night, and my mom, like, she woke me up and she was just like, your diet has to change, and you probably got to eat more fruits and vegetables. Like, that's what she was telling me, because that's what she thought. And I remember I was excited, and I was just like, oh my God, I love watermelon. Like, I'm gonna eat just watermelon and strawberries. Like, that's what I was thinking. And then when we got there, child, I was there for probably about maybe 3 or 4 days. Maybe 3 or 4. I was there for like 3 or 4 days, and they had like the diabetes educator come in and let you know, like, how to deal with low sugars, high sugars, how to inject myself with insulin, how to prick my finger for readings. And I remember, my spirit was just like so like depressed, because I'm just like, oh my God, I'm not a regular kid anymore. Like, because again, I was 10, so I'm just like, now they telling me to eat, portion my food. I ate like a boy. Like, the fact that they was like, I gotta portion my food, or now I have to learn a sliding scale. And it's like, what the hell is a sliding scale? To check my sugar, and depending on what my sugar was, like if it was 150, I have to correct that, take insulin for that. So I gotta subtract. It was like a number. It would be like, oh, subtract 120 from 150 divided by 2, and that's how much units you'll take. And then I had to count my carbs. That was the hardest thing for me, because it's like, I'm only 10. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, I gotta look at the back of the food, see the serving size, eat what the serving size say, and do it like that. So I remember going through all that, and I always say to this day, like, my mother was the best. Like, my mother was the best. Like, she knew that, like, whatever they told her that day, she was perfect. Like, she was literally just perfect on it, and she didn't play. When it was time for me to eat, I was doing it the exact time the hospital told me it was time for me to check my sugar. My mother was on it. She was waking me up, giving me my insulin shots. Because sometimes, at first, I was just like, I don't want to do it. But then I had to learn how to do it, because I got to go to school. She can't be at school with me to do all this stuff. That same year too, my mom was always like, not partnered, because I mean, she ain't partnered with them, but we did research on JDRF, which was JDRF, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. Yeah, so JDRF, and I went to my first diabetes walk that same year in Georgia. And I remember it was like so many people, like so many families whose children had this like disease. And it still didn't make me comfortable. Like, it still wasn't just like, oh, I'm not the only one. You know what made me fake a little bit comfortable in my skin at that point? When I found out Nick Jonas had that. Like, I remember when I went to that specific walk, they had a big poster of him, like a cutout life size. And it was just like, yes, Nick Jonas, he got his a couple years ago. Like, he was diagnosed a couple years before me. And it was just like, oh my God. And I was young, that was my crush. So I'm like, oh, that's my soulmate. We battling the same thing. But it's still like, that was cool and all. The walk was amazing. I started doing those walks every year, which I was just telling my best friend, like, damn, today today is November 2nd, and it was the last day for the walk out here in Charlotte. But I remember doing all those walks, getting all these goodies, and it was fun, because JDRF, every year they had something for the kids. Like, they'll take us to like Hard Rock Cafe. They'll take us to the Intrepid. This is New York though, the New York JDRF. They took us to the Intrepid, that big boat that's like stationary in New York somewhere on the pier or something like that. It was always something they did for the kids, which I loved about them. But school was hard. Having to going to lunch, but I had to always go to the nurse. And at that time, nobody in my school had it. I don't even think nobody really knew, except my best friend at the time, Fernanda. She knew her and her mom, they knew I had it. And I only hold like one boy in that school, like, oh, like, because he's gonna be his best friend, and he's be like, why you always going there? And I'm like, oh, I got diabetes and stuff like that. But I remember one time I used to wear, I had an insulin pump. Like, right now I take injections, because I do the needle, this, that, and third. When I was smaller, they had just started with the insulin pump, so that way you don't have to, take the needles all the time. It's like a little IV. If you ever seen an IV, it's like a little plastic, and it go in your skin. So you'll put it like on your stomach or on your side, and they like hook on your pants or something like that. And I remember, and I'm not gonna say I got bullied because I never got bullied. None of y'all could bully me to this day. But it was really the boys. But they used to be like, what is that? Like, is that a pager? You got a pager on you? That thing mad big. Like, oh my god, what is that? And they used to make me feel so bad and embarrassed. That's why I never like told anybody. I never for years, like for years now, I'll say it. Like even making this video, it's just like, no, I got diabetes, and it's like, no, it is what it is. It's like it's not like a STD. But before it was just like that's why. And I remember some boy was like, you know how you in middle school you got those niggas who play too much. He literally threw because I have a monitor like to prick your check your blood. Y'all know what those is. He threw it over the stairs while I was going down to line. So he threw it, and another boy picked it up and opened it. Why are you picking up some of that nachos and opening my stuff? He opened it. He's like, "What is this?" I snatched it so quick, and I just left. I never seen him again to explain what it was because it was just like, please don't ask me because I'm not ready to tell. But it was like I hated that pump for that reason because it was like it's so big, it's so visible. Everybody was always in my business, and and I remember I used to cry because it used to be like the boys used to always. It was this one boy I don't remember his name, and it was like he was in my brother's grade, and I was outside. I'm playing with my friends, and he just started yelling like, "Oh, Caitlin got diabetes," or "Caitlin, you know you could die from diabetes," and I just started crying because it's like, why y'all doing that to me? Why would you say that? I was just like, why would you say that to me? Why are you so worried about me? And now, funny thing is, if I see him now, I would really violate you. So if you see this, I will really violate you. If you got a daughter, if you got a sister, I will violate you. So yeah. Anyways, back to our regular program. That was my experience in middle school. It was like so horrible. And I kept wearing that pump 8th grade because I know going into high school I had it. And in high school, I just had to go to the nurse too. And I was always in that damn nurse office, but nobody really knew, I don't think. I don't think none of my high school like people knew except for like my girls who I'm still friends with. Like they knew. But I told them too. I only told them because in my high school we had metal detectors. So every day it was no getting around me getting stopped to go through the metal detector because my insulin pump was metal, like it was metal. So it's just like, even though I told them like, oh, I have a pump, they still was like, you gotta get checked because we couldn't bring in phones, we couldn't bring in certain stuff. So they used to always do that. So I was like, let me just tell my peoples, but I was like, please, like, don't tell nobody. Like, I used to always do that, but I used to always be in the nurse office all the time. I get sick, and I would get sick. Like in high school, I felt like I was like the sickest, like literally the sickest. And I don't know why. I think it's because I was more so starting to do stuff on my own, like without my mom doing stuff for me. It was just like, no, you older now. You gotta start taking care of yourself. And I did horrible. And for me, I felt like, which I'm gonna tell y'all now, if y'all young, if any of y'all come across this video, y'all young, y'all have it, bump everybody. Like take care of yourself because I'm gonna tell y'all all the stuff I experienced being diabetic and not take care of myself because of being so embarrassed. But it's just like this is something you have to live with. Like this is you it's out of your control. So you didn't do this to yourself. You didn't get this disease to yourself. So just like take it one step at a time. If you don't want to tell nobody, you don't gotta tell nobody. But don't be ashamed about it and don't be scared to take it. If you gotta take it outside, you gotta do certain stuff, just do it. Because I used to be so like ashamed and like embarrassed that I want to be a regular person that I would sometimes not take my insulin, and that will always make me get super super sick. Like I remember coming home on a train, and I don't know, it could have been like three of my friends, but I went to a school in Harlem, and I live in Brooklyn at the time. And we was coming back, and I was just so sick, like I couldn't walk. I was hunched over, and we got in the train. When I say I threw up, because I was always in DKA, and DKA is diabetic ketoacidosis. So that's like when your blood gets like a little gap because your sugar's been too high for too long. So it's just like it's kind of like the insulin is not staying in your body. Like that's the best I could describe it. I'm probably super wrong. Okay, you get nauseous, you get tired, you get just really really sick, and it's like every time I was in that state, I felt like my inside, like my stomach was just filled with acid. Like it would hurt so bad that to the point I'm screaming. Like I would just scream and cry and scream and cry, and I couldn't walk. Like my mom would we would get on the train to go, because this before Ubers, y'all. We get on the train, go to the hospital, and my mom would not take me to no, because we live in Brooklyn. She would not take me to no hospital. We was not doing those Brookdale, none of these hospitals. We would always go to Mount Sinai in Manhattan. So we had to walk to the L train, because we lived by the L. So we used to have to walk there. I was like, Mommy, I can't walk, I can't walk. And she was like really like try to hold me up and walk me there, because she was like, you go into this hospital. But anyways, that day coming from school, this was freshman year, and I was just like super, super sick, and I just started throwing up on the train, y'all. And that thing was just dragging and dragging and dragging. And everybody was like, and mind you, Ayana, if you see this, she was like, ew, what the, like, she was just doing all that. And I'm just like, in my mind, I'm laughing, because it's like, all right, girl, I feel you, because I don't like throw up. But it's the fact that I just kept doing it to the point some lady gave me her water bottle, y'all, and I drank off of her water bottle. Didn't know this lady from a hole in the wall, and I'm still mad to this day that I did that, but grateful for her at the same time. But I was like super, super, super sick, and I would get like that like every month in high school for some reason, like every month. And come to find out, like when I get into that state of DKA, I can't. I'm not supposed to eat. I'm not supposed to drink, because basically my body is like dehydrated. So what I need is a constant insulin drip and just like fluids. So I would used to be in the hospital like all the time, y'all. Like let's fast forward to my near death experience, right? This was senior year. I just came back to New York from being in Georgia for like a good year and a half or something, almost 2 years. And this time, my mom, she's still in Georgia. So I moved with my dad and my stepmom at the time. And they didn't really know like anything about diabetes or how to take care of it or how to take care of me in that aspect. So I was like, and this is not like, oh, y'all couldn't take care of me. It was just awesome. Like they really didn't know, because I never lived with my dad before prior to this, and I was 17 at the time. So yeah, so I moved in, and I basically was taking care of myself, doing things on my own time. So they'll ask me like, oh, what you supposed to do, and I wasn't really telling the truth on like, oh, I have to do it. I check it at this time. I have to take my insulin at this time. Or they will always ask me like, what are you supposed to be eating, and oh, you can't have this, which I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I hate, because I'm gonna tell you this right now. And a type 1 diabetes is not a limitation on what you can and cannot eat. Like I can literally eat anything I want to eat. I just have to literally take the medication for it. Like I had to. Anyways, so I wouldn't like. I was just telling them what they wanted to hear. And they'd be like, "You good? How's your sugars?" And I'd be like, "Oh, it's good." Whole time my sugars weren't good, and then it was a time, like it was a gap where I just wasn't checking my sugars. Like I just was like, no, I'm back with my friends. We older now. We outside a little bit, because I had freedom. When living with my mom, I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't go outside. When I was with my dad, it was just like it was. He was more lenient. It was just like you could be outside, but you gotta be back home. Obviously, you got school tomorrow. Whatever the case may be. But it was like I don't even have that much rules there. So I would just lie to them. But it was a whole gap where I just wasn't checking my sugars at all. But I was still taking insulin, but probably not the right amount, because I'm just going based off how I feel. Like if I feel like I'm okay, I might just take a few drops of insulin just to make sure like I don't pass out. But this, I guess, not I guess, I know everything caught up to me, because the day before prom, me and my friends, we was outside, we was in Best Eye, and we was outside just doing stuff we wasn't supposed to be doing. Like we was out on the block. We was on the block, and we just hanging out, and then we saw like boys. They came, they was talking to us, and they were like, "What y'all want to do? Y'all want to get a bottle?" I don't drink, and I had no idea at the time that alcohol contains sugar. Like I didn't know that. So they went and got a bottle. They got Hennessy, and we were just drinking and all that stuff. And it's just like, all right. I was cool, because I know my limit. Well, I didn't, because I never drank before, but I knew not to OD, because I don't like the taste. So I drank some, whatever. We was cool. The next day, it was prom day. We had to go to school just for attendance. So we go get our attendance. And as I'm there, I could not move. Like I could not move. I was just like, I think even going to school, I was just like, hunched over, holding my stomach, like, nah, I'm in pain, I'm in pain. But I still went because I'm like, nah, it's prom day, get it done, whatever. And then I was in pain the whole time, and they was like, all right, we gotta go, like, you gotta go home or whatever. And I remember Miss Johnson was like, no, like, she don't look good. Y'all not taking her nowhere. Like, she gotta come get picked up. Like, and I was like, no, I'm okay. And they like, she like sit down because Miss Johnson knew like she's diabetic. Like, the like, girl, sit down. So she's just like, no, you cannot go nowhere. So I know my friends left, and I remember going home. Actually, I think they did let I think I like convinced her to let Salika take me home. I think Twin took me home that time, and I went home. And I remember that day, and I was telling my dad like, "Oh, I don't feel good," or he's like, "What's going on?" And I was like, I was so in and out of it, and it was just like something going on in the house that I don't remember. I just remember him calling the ambulance. So he calls the ambulance, and from then I don't remember like literally anything. I remember they was taking me to Harlem Hospital because now I'm living in Harlem with my dad. They took me to Harlem Hospital, and when I woke up, I was like totally somewhere else. I woke up and it was just like I felt like so much restraint. And I just like, what the heck is going on? I remember waking up and I was like if I took a big deep breath, I was like, and I was just like, and the nurse came in, she's like, oh, you're awake, you're awake. And I was just like, I have to go, like I have to go to prom. I kept saying that, like I have to go to prom, I have to go to prom. And she's laughing, which pissed me off because why would you laugh at me? She like, baby, prom was a couple days ago. And I was like, what you mean it's a couple days ago? And I just started staring. And then I remember the next day, my father come and everything. And then my friends come. They come in now see me. Like, Lou was coming at Z. They was all coming, like, to see me. And then I called them, like, FaceTime, matter of fact. Before they came to see me, I FaceTimed them. And she was just like, oh, my God, like, you okay? She was like, you was in a coma. And they kept saying that. And I was like, well, y'all play too much. I'm laughing. I'm like, y'all play too much. Like, girl, I was not in no damn coma. And then Lulu, she was like, Kate, you was in a coma. Like, I'm not joking. And then my dad and my brother was like, you was in a coma. And I'm like, y'all was in a coma. I was like, it's not funny. Like, I'm laughing and smiling now, but like, for real, like, this is not okay. But at that time, I'm like, how was I in a coma? Like, nobody came to see me. Like, and because to me, I'm like, if I'm in a coma, and because I'm here, I'm out this coma, and I'm Gucci, like, I'm talking regular, like, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm like, thinking it's like how the movies was. I'm like, nobody came to see me. Nobody came to be like, girl, this your last shot. You better get us together, or next time you're not waking up. Like, I thought I was gonna see somebody. I thought I was gonna see my grandmother. I thought I was gonna see somebody. I ain't see nobody. So that's why I was telling him, like, I think y'all lying, because the whole time it just was, everything felt like a dream, but really everything was dark. Like, everything was dark, but it felt like a dream. And they was like, my dad was telling me like, no, you was in a coma. They was like, you basically, when you got to Harlem Hospital, they was like, it's nothing else they could do for you. Like, I basically like died. And they was like, we're gonna transfer to another hospital and see. And then they transferred me to Presbyterian Hospital in the Bronx, I believe. Children's Presbyterian, yeah. It was in the Bronx. And then I still was like, I was breathing. They had a tube in my throat and everything and stuff. And then the wire, so I could use the bathroom and pee and everything. They had all that in me, and they was like, I was just so unresponsive that my great grandmother, she came in, and I love you, I love her, but she came in and she basically like saw me and grabbed me. So, and it was crazy because my dad was like, I made him mad because I didn't wake up when he was there every day, but when my grandmother came and grabbed me, I woke up. So it was just like, oh wow, like she just knew, like, I don't know, like her touch just woke me up. She was like, there's like, she grabbed me and I woke up out of the coma. And I was like, wow. And I was like, I can't believe this, because like I don't have no experience to be like, y'all, I remember this. I just remember going to one hospital, coming from and going to another one. And then when my brother was telling me like he was really down bad, like he was screaming and crying, like, take me, like, don't take my sister. And I was just like, yeah, not me getting hot in the eyes. But I was just like, that is really crazy. Like, and I didn't go to my regular prom because of that, but they had a prom there for me, like a hospital prom that as he came, my brother came, we did that. They did my makeup, my hair, all that. But I just like, I always regret that. And I was like, oh my God, I wish I really took better care of myself and I really cared. enough so that way I did have that high school experience. Because like I didn't go to my senior trip for high school, I didn't take school pictures, and then I didn't go to prom. Like my high school years is just like basura. But anyways, I always thank God, like thank God I'm still here, like because that could have just been it for me, 17 and done. But yeah, that whole experience, and I remember, anyways, after all that, even during the prom that I had there at the hospital, I couldn't eat nothing because that's how bad my body was. That they had me like on a liquid diet, like I would have like sugar free Jello and water. That's it. And I was looking at all the stuff they had there. It looked good, all the sweets. And then Ezzy was like, KK, I she was like, I won't eat anything because you can't eat. And I was like, girl, it's okay. And my brother was like, you said it's okay. My brother went and got a plate, and I was looking at him like, now you know I didn't really mean that. But I always just like that experience itself was just like, girl, like what was you doing? Now I'm saying that, but still that didn't wake me up then. Because even after that experience, I still was in and out, in and out, in and out the hospital being in DKA because to me, I always my excuse was my insurance was stopped and then I didn't go renew it. So I'm like, I don't have insurance, I can't get insulin. But really it was just like, you know you're diabetic. You know that after when your insurance is expiring because they send you emails and mails, you could go renew that while you was on top of that. And I feel like I didn't care enough at those times because after that whole coma thing, I was in that space where just like I don't want this no more. Now I don't want to be here, but I don't want this like this disease. Like why out of all these people in the world did I get this? But it's like, girl, you can't think like that because people got it worse out there. And this disease is not it's life threatening, yes, but it's not impossible. It's not gonna be easy every day, but it's not impossible. And I still gotta be grateful for the days that I do get to wake up and I'm up and I'm good and I feel good. And I feel like it's very manageable if you really do what you gotta do because it's not hard. That was crazy, but yeah. And again, I didn't tell a lot of even being in the hospital. I remember I missed my senior dance, so I came up with the dance. Me and twin we did the dance, we choreographed the dance, and I was supposed to do with her to the Pretty Little Liars theme song. Got a secret, can you keep it? Make this one is say that it was supposed to be me, Salika, and Brielle. What's her name? Right? And Brielle. Lulu ended up taking my spot, and I remember some of the girls calling like, "You want me to record? I'm gonna record. I'm gonna FaceTime you. I'm gonna record it for you." I still got the recorder on my phone, but it's like I'm looking at that and it's like, damn, that was my last senior dance, and I didn't get to do that because I didn't care. Like that is just so crazy to me, and I'm just like I missed out on so much stuff, so much. And y'all, first of all, when I came back, because remember I said I was in Georgia. When I came back, they made me take. Y'all know they made me take three regions after I got out from that coma in the hospital. Are y'all okay? Are y'all okay? DOE. That was insane. I passed ish. That was my near death experience. Now, pregnancy and diet, because y'all know I'm a mom. Pregnancy and diabetes is whoosh, child. That is like a full time job. Like I know being a mom is a full time job, but like having diabetes and being pregnant is like it's so much work because I had like an appointment like every week, and it's crazy because I remember a lot of girls be like they would tell me like when I was like when I told them I was pregnant or whatever they would be like, and I'd be like I just want to see my baby and I want to see if it. They was like, girl, you're not gonna get that much like sonogram pictures and stuff. I have so many because I had so many appointments. I had to do non-stress tests because usually when you're pregnant, they make you at a certain amount of weeks, so they make you take that test, that juice to see if you're diabetic. I didn't have to because I'm already diabetic. So I always had to do a non-stress test. I was going every 2 weeks, and then they always would tell me like, they have to do certain tests to make sure like, oh, he don't have like he not formed a different way because of like diabetes. Because if my sugars go too high, that could do something to the baby. So it's like I had to literally be on top of everything when I was pregnant because it's like you don't want whatever you go through to affect your child. And it's like that pregnancy was so hard because I done had COVID during that pregnancy. I used to be so scared, like, oh my God, my baby, my baby, my baby. But it's like I had to watch literally everything. And And they told me because I asked them like, I do have to have a C-section because I'm diabetic, and I kept hearing that like, oh, you can have a C-section, you can't do a natural birth. But honestly, that's untrue. You can have a natural birth. She said you can have a natural birth. The reason I didn't have a natural birth though is because my son was turned a certain way, so I ended up having a C-section, and I had him at 30. I had him at 37 weeks in some days. I was going into 38 weeks, but they was gonna induce me at 38 weeks anyways because they said when you are diabetic, you can't go to full 40 weeks because you can have a stillborn. So I was induced because I was diabetic and I just can't go to the full route. But that wasn't even the hardest part about it. What they don't tell you is just like you really have to take care of your body because pregnancy and diabetes have a lot of side effects. After I had my son in May. I lost my vision in May. Like I lost my vision. Like I remember I started seeing like little floaters in my eyes, and I would go to my doctor, and they'd be like, and he saw the back, and he was just like, it's probably something with your retina, like it's like a tear because your retina gets destroyed through diabetes. So I went into saw a doctor and everything. Matter of fact, before I told him about the floaters, and he's like, "That's fine. When you regulate your sugars, it'll get back better." It was one day, me and my boyfriend was just watching TV, and I'm just like, "I can't see," and he was like, "What you mean you can't see?" And I'm like, "I cannot see. Like I literally, it was only a little corner of my eye, like my peripheral, that I've had vision out of, and these are both of my eyes. Like so, I couldn't like." For weeks, I couldn't make my son bottle. I couldn't change him. I couldn't do certain stuff because it's just like I literally lost my vision. I couldn't see. And I had to, I remember, so I went to my doctor again, and he was like, wait, well, you got to go see a specialist because they got to really look into it. So I went and saw a eye doctor. I got to, I'm going to put it under what it's called, like what I went through, the procedure I did and everything. But one of my eyes was stronger than the other. My left eye was worse than my right eye. So my right eye, when I went to the doctor, he gave me like a steroid shot, and then we made an appointment to get surgery in this one. And he was just basically like, see how this does, and if if you need to get surgery in this one, we're gonna schedule it after this because obviously I can't get it at the same time because then I won't be able to see. So by the time I still couldn't see in this for a week, but I had got this scheduled for like a couple days later, and they basically did the laser. It went so smoothly. Like I know they put me under the anesthesia. It felt like I was asleep for 30 minutes, but my eyes was open. Like my eyes open. He cut my lashes though. I ain't like that. But yeah, he cut. I mean, I got the laser surgery, and then it still took me. I feel like it took about like 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, for my vision to come. This came back first. Like this, I just felt. I kept seeing it clear, 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 and I was so ready to cry because I'm like, I thought it was like over. They always say when you're diabetic, take care of your eyes. Like instead of regular people, they go to the eye doctor every year, like once a year. With us, it's every 6 months, and you got to see a regular eye doctor and a diabetes doctor because you could get blind, you could be blind, or you could get glaucoma. I think I was saying it wrong. Glaucoma. It sound. I don't know if I'm trying to say glaucoma, but well, you could get that if you're not taking care of your sugars and everything. So it's just like a lot of this stuff is really tied to how well you take care of your body. So it's just like me, I felt like so many years I just was not giving my body that much attention and caring until like even recent, like up until recent, because I just told you I was in the hospital. But before that, it's been a good minute since I've been in the hospital. As a matter of fact, since my eye, and I got this in 2022 when I got not this because it's not a fake eye. I got my surgery in 2022, but from then on, I wasn't in the hospital for nothing diabetes related or anything. I really wasn't in the hospital for nothing. But recently, I used to go to, like I was saying, I used to go to the doctor a lot because my sugars was too high. This time it was so opposite. My sugars was too low. Because again, with the whole insurance thing, I didn't have insurance. Out here, it's so hard to get insurance, y'all. But I didn't have it. My insurance stopped on September 30th. So when I went to go pick up my medicine, I didn't know it stopped. I went to pick up my medicine. It was like, no. So it's two type of insulins that I take: the short acting and the long acting. The short acting is if I need to correct a high blood sugar, or if I'm eating something with sugar and I need to correct for what I eat. And then the long acting is just insulin staying in your body for 24 hours to make sure you're fine. It's still something active in your body. So I would take the long acting one because I had a lot of it. I would take extra than what I needed to prevent my sugars from being high. So from doing that for the past 3 weeks, I kept getting really low blood sugars during the night. And another thing, I wear a Dexcom. So a Dexcom is, instead of pricking my finger all the time, this stays on your bodies. You change it every 10 days, so I don't have to check my sugars like that. Everything is on my phone. It's Bluetooth. Everything on my phone. So I would get alerts for the past 3 weeks. I was getting so many alerts like, oh, check your sugar. Your sugar's low, or it will tell me if my sugar's high. It'll tell you if it's going down rapidly or if it's going up rapidly. That last day, the day I got sick, so I basically took it off because it was my 10-day mark. I took it off, but I didn't have another one to replace it. So I didn't get no alert. And I was telling my boyfriend, like, these past days I've been waking up with low blood sugar and everything feel like a dream. Like, I know you talking to me, I hear you talking to me, but I can't really respond how I want to respond because it don't feel like I'm in this realm with you. Like, so that day that I got sick, my sugar went really low, and I wasn't aware because my boyfriend tried to wake me up because he was going to work, and it's like, oh, wake up because Legacy just got up, my son just got up. And as he was trying to wake me up, like, everything he would say to me, I was just like, no, like, my words were slurring. And then he recorded a video to show the ambulance, like, this is how she sounds, this is what she's talking. And it literally felt like I had a stroke. Even watching it, the way I was talking, it was just like, you know how, sorry, not to sound like, harsh or nothing, but like, you know how deaf people who really don't speak, how they start talking. That's how I was talking. I was just like slurring my words, and I was like, that's how I was talking. And then the ambulance came. They were trying to give me like glucose to bring my sugars up, and I was spitting it out. I wasn't taking it, and I realized when I would talk, I was biting inside of my mouth because that's how hard it was for me to talk and to spit the words out of my mouth. I couldn't do it. So I went to that. They sent me to the hospital, and after I was going home, like, my best friend said to me, like, "Are you staying?" Because they always keep you. And I'm like, "No, I'm not staying because my sugar not high. It's low." They kept me there for 2 days because they was letting me know, like, a low sugar, they rather a high sugar than a low sugar because it was like, it affects your brain. And I was just like, wow, this whole time I was taking extra insulin because I thought if I take more and keep it low, it's better than having a high blood sugar. So yeah, that's why I was in the hospital. But I came out and now I'm more aware. I got my insurance because obviously I got my Omnipod back on. My Omnipod, that's a pump that I do not have. I got my Dexcom back. But I say this just to say, again, if you are type 1 diabetic, take care of yourself. Like, you come first. And you got to remember, like, your life is really not your own, especially when you have a family. Like, God forbid, I keep going down the route that I was going down. Like, who gonna take care of my son? Like, who gonna be here? Like, you can really die from this disease. And I remember being young, and the doctors always told me, like, you can die. And I used to cry and be like, you dumb. I used to tell the doctors, like, you sound dumb. Like, I went in a coma. You sound dumb. I'm still here. But it's like, girl, you cannot have that attitude because it's like they telling you just so it could register in your brain, like, take care of yourself. So yeah, y'all, that is my experience with type 1 diabetes. So if you are going through this battle, you are not alone. And it's not easy, y'all, but again, it's manageable. So keep your head up, check your sugars, take your insulin, make sure you eat every 3 to 4 hours, because that's very much important. Don't listen to those people. Just ignore them, because this a fact that I hate is when y'all be like, oh, you got diabetes because you ate too much sugar and too much candy. No, I'm sweet, all right? But that's not why I got it. It's an autoimmune disease, because I just learned that, which is so pathetic because I had it for 17 years, right? But I'm still learning because I'm still trying to teach my partner, my best friend, and eventually I'm gonna have to teach my son because, God forbid, like, I would want him to know just how to handle a situation if I can't handle myself. Because again, this recent one, I wasn't aware of anything I was doing. I couldn't do anything for myself. It's a journey, but I'm gonna get through it, and I'm gonna get more educated on stuff. I wish I could have did the walk this year. I didn't do the walk, but yeah, it is what it is. And I got to check on your friends who have this. Do y'all research about it. There are a lot of programs for people who have type 1 diabetes that you could get into, that you could probably be a speaker for, or even just like follow, donate, because I know it's a lot of charities for it. Every year they trying to raise money for a cure. So yeah, stay tuned. Thank y'all for watching. And y'all, this really feel like this is like my coming out story, because I never really like sat comfortably and be like, y'all, I have diabetes. Like, I am a diabetic. But my name is Kate the Great, and I have type 1 diabetes. And I'm not ashamed anymore. So yeah, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and just click that button. And bye, y'all.